guys, so today I just wanted to do a little small video just to update you with what's happened the last few days. Obviously from my title you can see what's happened, but I just wanted to explain because obviously Jacob's not going to be in any more of my videos. So it's Friday half term and we got back from school and I started cooking dinner. The kids were in the living room just watching YouTube on the Xbox. Brad had won some gifts from school because he'd done really well that half term. So Grace decided to steal the putty that he won, as she does, and Brad screamed. So I was in the kitchen and all I heard was loud screams and Grace was just really frantic. So I ran in, Jacob was just walking out, so I took him outside and then I walked into the living room and there was just blood everywhere. Brad was saying, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I looked at him and I noticed in his head he had a real big opening. It was disgusting. I'll put a picture here, but the picture doesn't look half, like in real life it was 10 times worse. The opening was so thick, and I thought I could see his skull, but I think it was just the thin layer of skin over the skull or something like that. It was disgusting, and the blood pouring from the scalp. So I got a tea towel and I was just putting pressure on it and I phoned the ambulance. Whilst I was on the phone to the lady, I noticed that his ear had also been damaged. I thought that Jacob had actually ripped half of his lobe off and had eaten it. But as I looked more into it, one half of it was really pushed back and the other half was there. So thankfully he hadn't eaten it, he split it open. So that was pouring of blood as well. Brad's clothes are full of blood, the floor was just blood as well. And of course as an 8-year-old you think you're gonna die. So we waited for the paramedics to come and they checked him out and we had to go to hospital. So on the way to hospital the ambulance stopped. I was speaking to somebody and it was the police, and the police asked the paramedic, where's the dog? And he said he was outside and I was like, no, he's in the house, he's roaming around free in the house. The paramedic said to me that because it was a dog bite then they had to inform the police. So the police followed us to the hospital and they took me aside from the kids and they spoke to me and said, you know, asked what happened, took some pictures of Brad's wounds, and they said just be prepared because we think that the dog's going to have to be confiscated from your family home. But they had to wait for the dog unit to come to us. When he arrived he spoke to me and he said that under the Dangerous Dog Act we couldn't keep Jacob anymore, and because he was a dangerous dog then he couldn't be rehoused, so he had to be euthanized. So I was crying and the kids were crying because it was just upsetting, and Grace was just like, the police woman asked Grace, you okay? She was like, no I'm not. Obviously she's not, but you know she's just trying to comfort Grace. Whilst we was just there getting treatment, the police went to the house, they took my keys, went to the house and took Jacob. The kids were really upset because they couldn't say goodbye, but I said to them that if they could say goodbye it probably would have been worse and they would have been even more upset if they could say goodbye and see him being driven off by the police. So it's probably for the best anyway that they did it like that. So we was in A&E for 5 hours on the Friday, waiting for Bradley to be seen, and he was just pouring of blood that whole 5 hours. It wouldn't stop, and the nurse said to me that because it's a scalp wound, the scalp bleeds loads, so she said, so don't worry. And we were seen and they said that he needed surgery, so we had to have surgery the day after, and the day after we was there for 10 hours while he was put under anaesthetic and had surgery, and that was horrible in itself, you know, just seeing your son was just lying there, and he was so brave. But as he was lying there on the operating table and there was like 5 nurses and surgeons around us, he got really scared and he was so upset, he was panicking, he went blotchy because he was just nervous, and they was like, has he got an allergy? I was like, no, he's just scared. Yeah, and he had to obviously have that thing in his hand, they called it a butterfly, and they said that they had to feed the butterfly some water, and when that went in his hand he screamed. It was such a shame for him, and I was trying to keep him calm and just go, oh it's fine, you know, they're just going to give some water to you now. I was like, see, you're thirsty, so they're going to give you some water. And then they tried to put the mask on him and he was pushing his away. He was like, I don't want to go to sleep, not yet, not yet, not yet. But then he said, I'm tired, and he don't remember saying that he was tired. and then they put the mask on him and he was gone, and that was horrible, seeing Brad just all panicked and then he was gone. Gave him some kisses on the forehead and I just cried. I was like, oh, horrible seeing him like that. But he got out. I think he got out about an hour later, and he was all groggy, but he was so brave. But then obviously he had to be in observation for a few hours. Not a few hours, like 6 hours. But he's okay. He's got dissolvable stitches now. He's been given antibiotics and some antibacterial cream, and they just said that just watch out for it, that it doesn't get infected, because usually with dog bites they have to keep them open because of the risk of infection, but because these wounds were so big, they had to put them back together. Yeah, but Brad's doing fine. I actually thought his ear was getting infected the other day because it was going yellow, but it's healing now, so that's good. Grace was blaming herself for a while. She was just in tears, she wouldn't eat. But I said to her, you know, Jacob's bitten Brad before. If you remember from Brad's birthday last year in 2018, Brad pulled a party popper, went for the streams but bit his face instead, and that was an accident. But Jacob was a dog. He did have issues because he didn't like loud noises, he didn't like people walking and talking outside, couldn't even play Nerf guns in front of him because he'd go insane. He didn't like screams, he didn't like the kids playing too loudly. So, and I think this all started as a puppy because we had him at 12 weeks and his owners before didn't give him his injections, so he had to stay in until his injections had obviously worked, and then he could go outside then. So I think that really affected him, and the older he got more clingy to us, especially me. I couldn't walk around the house without being by my legs. Yeah, he had separation anxiety, and he ended up having a grey beard because he was just a stressful dog. But he was such a lovely dog, a lovable dog. He was so handsome. He loved all of us and he was very playful, always barking at us to play, and he just had his own unique character because he was so goofy a lot of the time. He was a really funny dog. He just used to roll around and make noises all the time. He was so silly. He was 3, he had his 3rd birthday a few weeks ago at the beginning of May. Those 3 years, they were amazing. And we wouldn't change anything, we wouldn't have not had him or anything. He was a lovely dog, but obviously the police have to do their job, and he's bitten somebody, especially a kid, and it could have been worse. I mean, if he got Brad by the neck, it could have been a completely different story. Because Jacob was such a stressy dog, I think this was always going to happen anyway. Luckily, Brad's wounds are on his head, which was really big, and that's going to be covered by his hair, and then his ear as well, that can be hidden, so it's not on his face, which is really good. But I said to him, see them as, you know, not horrible scars, just see them as that you survived it, and you will always have a piece of Jacob on you. And he smiled and he really liked that. And so this is such a sad thing that's happened to us. As much as this is really sad about Jacob, you know, Brad's fine, and it could have been so much worse. It could have been fatal to Brad. So now we're just getting used to life without Jacob, and Grace has stopped crying now because she was crying every single day. Yeah, and we're just plodding along, getting used to having no doggy. You know, Grace was like, oh, we've got a pet now. But I said to them that they can have a couple of hamsters next month. Whether I regret that, I don't know. Yeah, but we'll never forget Jacob. He was a lovely dog. It's just unfortunate that this has happened. So my little fur baby is now in doggy heaven, so I hope he finds peace there. This wasn't a very positive video, but I needed to update you with what's happened the last few days. So I'll see you guys soon with another video.